Hi everyone and welcome to Parallel Archives. If you're new here, my name is Khadija and I share on this channel mainly stories about art and design and the way they shape the world we live in. I also share sometimes some lifestyle content, so make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're interested in this kind of videos, and let's dive right into today's subject. When I was a student, I moved for the very first time in a new city on my own, and I had to live in a tiny apartment. I think it was like 15 square meters, something close to this. So the whole place was as big as my childhood bedroom. I would say it was kind of challenging at first to manage how to do everything in such a small space that was given to me. So I had to cook, to sleep, to study, to shower, everything in this tiny space, and a girl likes her books. So I had a lot of stuff I had to choose to carry or not in this space in order to make my life easier and to manage this tiny space. So little by little I started to adjust and to understand better the space that was given to me and to manage to live in it with all my stuff. Because as small as it was, this space was giving me a sort of comfort and safe feeling in this new city where everything was unknown to me, basically. Having this experience has led me to ask myself one simple question: why are we so drawn towards tiny spaces, small spaces? Whether in architecture or interior design or just daily life, we all navigate throughout what I like to call micro spaces. So in today's video, we are going to explore this fascination we have towards small spaces and how these spaces influence not only the way we live, but how we feel, we think, and we connect to the world surrounding us. Small spaces come in many shapes, and they can be whether chosen or imposed. In our Western cultures, they're often seen as a constraint generally, because having big space is, in most cases, associated with wealth, power, and just comfort in general. Basically, the mantra is the more you have, the better. But ironically, we are starting to see a growing interest towards smaller spaces. We have the example of tiny houses, which are becoming more and more popular. Also, capsule cabin in hostels in Japan, which are also starting to grow on Western tourists. And also the converted vans mania there is at the moment. But why is that? Basically, for the first pro, we can say that living in a small space, in a reduced space, can give you a sense of control over your environment. If you think about it, our homes are already filled with micro spaces. The first one that can come to mind is the bed, which is a tiny word on its own. The bed is not only a space where you sleep. In your bed, you can evolve. You can read, you can listen to music, you can invite friends to come over to talk, you can just chill in your bed. There are many things that one can do in its bed, alongside just basically sleeping in it. So the bed is a microspace within the house in which one can develop its own little universe. I like to quote a series of photographs made by American photographer Adrienne Salinger, which is called 90s Teenagers in Their Bedroom, and which is basically illustrating teens surrounded by their own little universe. And you see that the bed is a central piece in this iconography. So the teens are surrounded by their posters, their clothes, their music, and art sometime. What you can also pick on this is that Their rooms are mostly small spaces within the house, but they are full of personality. The bedrooms here become a mirror of the person living in them and evolving in them, kind of like a physical extension of their identity. But the desire for small, restrained spaces doesn't stop at the bedroom. From childhood, we feel an urge, an instinct to build cabins and forts within the house or outside in our garden, using our couches with sheets and pillows. These little shelters spark imagination. They're, for children, like portals to other worlds. And this very sense of intimacy that we seek by building forts and dens in our homes when we are childs is a subject that has been studied throughout design history. In the 70s, for instance, there are conversation pits. It was a sunken lounge area filled with cushions, designed to bring people closer together and to involve conversation within the living room. It created a soft, cozy place within the larger room, a tiny cocoon for connection. And that decade was full of experiments regarding microspaces. Think of Werner Punton's Living Tower, for instance, or even the Bazaar sofa by Super Studio. It was furniture that were almost architectural in themselves, inviting people to move, to sit, and to just live differently. Another 70s, 80s example here is the A-frame house, which is basically a triangular shaped house allowed for small vertical living. It became a symbol of peaceful, simple life, rooted in nature, like a cabin made for reflection. This idea of micro-living as meaningful is still going on today. Take Auroville, for instance, a utopian town in India that was built in 1968. There, people live in compact, tiny spaces that are eco-designed homes and that are built around community and sustainability rather than individual ownership. And today's tiny house movement echoes that. Small homes are not only efficient and minimal, but also intentional. They raise one question: what do I really need to have in order to live well? As writer Liza Achilles has written in one of her interviews she had with a friend that lives in a tiny house, her friend states that by living in a tiny space, it helps her grow her inner space, the space for thoughts, creativity, and presence. But not all small spaces are chosen. Some are a matter of survival. In many major cities, space is becoming more and more a luxury. In Hong Kong and Beijing, for example, micro apartments as small as 10 square meters are now common. They raise another question here. How small is too small to live with dignity? There are other tiny spaces that are designed for restriction. Prison cells, for instance. Still small, still private, but completely the opposite of safe and chosen. And then there are on the streets the tents of unhoused people. There are raw symbols of exclusion, but also of ingenuity. When society doesn't give you space, you make your place of your own. It's a matter of survival here. Sometimes these limits, which are eventually not chosen, can help designers and architects and even artists to think and embrace these topics and to raise even more questions. Take Fernando Abaliñas, for instance. He is a Spanish designer who built a secret studio under a bridge. It's suspended in a hidden corner of the city with a desk and a bed. It's a kind of place of solitude that he built within the blank space of the city. Or Satoshi Murakami, for instance, also, who is a Japanese artist and who is also often named the Snail Man, because he had many urban experiences carrying a tiny house on his back and living out of it. It's a radical way to lead us to question what we really need to have in order to live well. These examples show something important. Owning a small space isn't all about the size of it, it's about the meaning of it. The meaning we attach to space, whether it is chosen or imposed, and the agency we have within it. Choosing to live in a small space can be a powerful act and also a big lifestyle shift. It has an impact on your mental well-being. Some people find tiny spaces really uncertain and also stressful, but others find them calming, and that offers them control, safety, and focus. Owning a tiny space has also an environmental impact. Having less space means having less heating, less consumption, and less waste. At Auroville, for instance, the idea wasn't just to reduce, but to rethink. Smaller homes meant stronger community, shared resources, and sustainable building. In Nordic countries, the example of hygge highlights coziness and contentment in compact spaces. Designers like Alvar Aalto favored natural materials and soft light in order to have small homes that breathe and not shrink. The hygge philosophy teaches us something crucial here. It's not about owning less, but it's about owning better. Not about the emptiness of a room, but about removing the unnecessary so what is truly essential can shine. Another visionary example is a French one by Jean-Louis Chanéac, who imagined a bubble-like structure in the 70s. It was a bubble that was modular and that seemed to grow out of buildings. They were small, flexible, and alive. So these spaces reflects on the way our values evolve. More flexibility means less attachment. More meaning means less excess. So maybe tiny spaces aren't just physical. Maybe they're also philosophical. Whether chosen or imposed, small spaces shape the way we live and the way we feel. They can be cocoons, canvases, symbols of simplicity, or also, in some cases, signs of crisis. And they raise deep questions. What do we really need to feel at home? And how much space do we need to be free? As cities grow and resources shrink, maybe these tiny spaces aren't just for trends. Maybe they are our future. But I would love to hear from you. What is your relationship to small spaces? Do you find them rather comforting or just overwhelming? Let me know in the comments down below. And if this video sparked something in you, make sure to leave a like and just subscribe to this channel, because I love to grow this community of passionate people. So just join the adventure with us. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you soon on Parallel Archives. Bye!